Hi, my name is Millie,
And I'm Janelle.
and we're doing some pretty exciting stuff that we're really eager to talk about.
We're super excited about everything that's coming up, and we are really excited to share our ideas about the Green Lighthouse.
Yeah, you guys, the Green Lighthouse is a super cool project Janelle and I have been working on subconsciously for probably years, but in actuality, not crazy long. We're really new.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so you're going to get to see us learn and grow, and right now we're kind of floundering around like fish out of water,
Yeah,
and you'll
make a lot of mistakes. You'll see some cool stuff, but you're also gonna see the process of us making mistakes, which hey, we can't hide that.
Yeah, we were just talking about how if you spend too much time planning, you never actually start. So here we are starting, and
so, if we're ready or not, it's happening. There's no way we can plan all we want, but we're going to mess up. So we might as well just start now.
So ready or not world, here we come. So the Green Lighthouse.
Yeah.
We'll kind of dive in. I'll give you the background, and then maybe we'll talk about our vision of where we're going with it. But one of the big reasons I really wanted to do something like this was there are problems facing humanity that humans have never faced before. And a lot of the problems to me as an individual felt too big. Like there was nothing I could do to affect change. Yeah. And I really wanted to find a way where together we could all do small positive things in our lives that can affect some pretty major change.
Totally. Yeah. And to give a little bit of background, I think on both of us, so you kind of know where we're coming from. Janelle's like a Wonder Woman. I don't know how she does it, but she's a full family person, and so you want to talk about that a little bit? So,
yeah, I mean, one of the big things I wanted on an individual level was to show my kids that you have to intentionally craft your life.
Yeah.
And the American lifestyle I've been leading the last few years has not been the healthiest for me. So I've got a wonderful family. I've got a husband who's super supportive. I've got 2 kids and a stepson that are all growing and handling, COVID and striving themselves. And so,
it's amazing, and it's so cool to watch those kids grow up and have you as a role model. And so when we were coming together to talk about these things, for me, as a 21-year-old who I want to see change and I want to help change, it seemed impossible because there was no way I could be making a big enough difference in the world like I wanted to. And for you, you had all these kiddos and you were more in a position to do that. But then when you have all those factors of the hours that you have to work, the kids you have to feed, you got to give them attention. Kids are hard. And so watching you go through that and seeing, how we both really wanted to reach this end goal of just actually helping people and helping the planet, I think this idea kind of came about to join forces and try and tackle it together.
Well, as soon as I met Millie, to give a little background about us, right? Like, who are we?
Why do you know each other? Why is this duo happening?
Yeah. So Millie started out as our babysitter, and very quickly I changed her name in my phone. So if you ever saw my phone number, she's just listed as extraordinaire because she's so extraordinary. She's just one of those people. From the moment I met her, I knew I wanted her in my life. I knew I wanted her in the lives of my kids. And that was so important to me, for them to have a role model like you for them. And Millie just goes out and makes things happen in this world and is always the Green Lighthouse. Our big thing is love yourself, love others, love the planet. And so you'll hear us say that all the time, taking care of ourselves, taking care of people that we know and don't know, and others, and the planet. And Millie embodies that in so much of what you do.
You're making me cry. Well, no, this is not a good way to start our first episode. But, I felt the same way. I really got pulled in by this family, and you guys have just been there for me through it all. And we've gone through some crazy life adjustments kind of together. And so I was able to fall back on them. They were able to fall back on me. And Janelle and I are just like two peas in a pod. So
that's what my husband would say.
Yeah. So when we're together, we
decades apart, but
yeah, we cause havoc. You wouldn't expect, two people who are in totally different parts of their lives to just mesh so well. Mm-hmm. But for Jason's sake, we did. So
yeah, and once we start talking, you'll find that it's hard for us to stop. So yeah, that's why we're teaming up together to be able to have this avenue. We want it to be for people. One thing I've really noticed in this world is to make choices that are not as positive. Yeah. Often the friction has been really reduced. We can buy things really quickly with one click. But to be able to do things like save for your retirement, it's a much harder, longer process. So ultimately, where we're kind of want to go with the Green Lighthouse is to have a platform where we can make things immediately reinforcing. We want to gametize it. Yeah. And
we just want to, what we really want to do is we want to help people live a happier life, be happier, and be more aware of the decisions they're making. And so our first goal is to create a community where we're all feeling kind of the same way about things, and if we disagree, that's great too. I mean, that's part of life, but I think we can all agree working from like 6 a.m. until 7 o'clock at night every day and busting your butt and coming home tired to wake up and do it all over again the same day is not fun. And so it's really easy to make decisions that are not the best and maybe don't align with the values, because I personally, if I could, I would in a heartbeat live in a mud hut and totally change my way of living, but that's just not realistic. And the way that society works is you're gonna have to have a cell phone, you have to get a computer, you have to have a job, you have to have all these things. And that doesn't always work out with things like helping the planet or going and seeing your grandparents. It's really hard to live the lifestyle you want to live in today's society. And so we want to reinforce people and give them the empowerment they need to make those decisions and give them a way to do it.
Yeah, in a positive way, and a lot of encouragement to do all these things, because we get so much encouragement to do the other things, right? We watch ads all the time with the pizza comes out, right, and the cheese, like we've all seen these ads, right, and the cheese is just stretching. You're like, that looks so good. Of course, there's not ads, as many ads like
for a carrot
or a carrot or some of those other things. So really trying to help people, whatever it is in their life. Millie alluded to the fact that we've faced challenges, and that's how life is, right? There's always going to be bumps in the road.
Totally.
And whatever challenge you're facing right now, we want to help give you community. We want to help give you support. We want to help give you tools to tackle those challenges and make things just a little bit easier for people.
Yeah, and if we can just make, one task a day easier for somebody, that's a win in my book. But for me personally, a big thing that is always weighing on me is the decisions that are put in front of us, they're so easy and there's so many of them a day. You make millions of decisions and we don't really have to think about the consequences. And, I am no saint. I definitely buy from all of Amazon, and I do all, and I, have tons of boxes sitting in my house, and I have plastic everywhere, and that's not the best thing for the environment or the community or maybe small businesses. And so there are ways we can help mitigate those decisions. And so I'm really excited for that piece of it, to help people feel more confident and proud of the decisions they're making, because I definitely feel bad when I get like my third Amazon box of the week with my textbook in it, and it's filled with like packing peanuts and a bunch of plastic that I just have to pull off and throw away. So I'm really excited for that idea of it.
Well, and I think one of the things that we really want to kind of talk about is, I think whenever you talk about being environmentally friendly, people go to the extremes.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we're at this point where
we're at the mud hut.
We're at the mud hut point, right?
We can't live in a mud hut.
But are there these little things that we can do? And so part of that is researching those things, having ideas, Little things like re-wearing the same shirt if you can more than once. So
and acknowledging that and seeing that, there are a lot of things that we do, and maybe not by choice, oh, you didn't need a shower today and instead you just did a quick rinse off. That's a good decision, and that's something you should be acknowledged for. But I think we see, oh, well, I'm completely vegan, and I have done that for 10 years, and it feels very scary. And my sister's been vegan for a while, and you guys were vegan too, and it's great. And I've been vegan. And so all those little decisions that you can do, they feel great. But then when you fall off of it, because I was only vegan for a few months, but when you fall off of it, then you kind of feel bad again.
And we really want to get to this place where you can make decisions. Like maybe in my life, what's healthiest for me is to not eat certain types of foods, but not for it to be an all or nothing proposition.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Even if there are things, just because we're talking about being vegan, even if you have meatless Mondays, which I know I've heard that campaign, and I can't attribute to who said that, but it's making those little steps. And I think that's what we're all about, is the little reasonable steps. Nobody's saying don't ever do anything fun.
And the little accomplishments, I mean, I'm not knocking veganism. I think anything you do for yourself, for your own health, for someone else's health, and for the planet health, it's great. And that's amazing. But I know there's a lot of people, including some people in my family, that even if they wanted to go vegan, they couldn't. And it would be impossible for them. And so seeing those tasks, seeing those struggles, and kind of being like, oh, well, the main thing you could do, that's the easiest, is doing this one thing, or doing, oh, the way to help others is to give them money. Like there's these little tasks in front of you, and they're not so little. They're these really big commitments. And so breaking it down and realizing what we can do, social media is so big. I don't know about anything on social media. I am not an Instagrammer. I am minimal at best, but I think there's these little devices in our hands that are going to be very helpful in creating community. And so that's where we're starting. We're starting by trying to build this media platform and create a sense of community between people so that we can all lean on each other just the same way as Janelle and I lean on each other to create this sense of community and respect and, encouragement, saying you can do this and it's okay and it's hard. Yeah. So that's where I think we're really starting right now. Yeah,
to take those positive little steps. And going back to rewards, one thing my husband always thought was really funny is he would make fun of the fact that I'd finish something and I'd accomplish something, whether it was a household task, and I would say to myself, that feels good. And he made fun of that for a while, and then he went out and helped my dad clean his shop. And at the end of cleaning the shop, my dad goes, well, that feels good. And he came back and was like, I know where you got that from. But I think it's really important to take a moment to acknowledge all the little things we do in our lives that move ourselves forward, whether that's writing a thank you note to a grandparent, whether that's making your kids breakfast. We should get credit for all of those positive things that we're doing all day.
And in a society right now, we're going through a lot. There's this pandemic that it feels like it's never ending, and it kind of isn't. And there's all these factors that we're having to hold ourselves accountable. And I am so, so glad that we're living in a society where we are holding each other accountable for our actions and our words, but also there's this lack of acknowledgement because of that. Because we're so holding each other accountable, we're missing the smaller pieces in life, like, hey, you got up today. You did it. You got out of bed and you showed up. That's an accomplishment in itself. Hey, you drank a glass of water today. That's awesome. There's all these things that you are doing every single day to push yourself forward and to push other people forward that we're kind of letting go to the side right now, because there are so many amazing people and there are so many amazing things going on in our lives right now that we forget about the small accomplishments. And so I think tapping into that and acknowledging, hey, you pushed yourself today, and if that was, spending an hour cleaning, if that was getting up and getting a cup of coffee before, 10, whatever that is for you, we want to be there to support you in that journey. So
my middle school basketball coach used to always say, little things make big things happen. And it is true that we live in this world where we know all about people who are doing superhuman things.
Yeah.
And I, just to give you a little background on me, I am a school psychologist. And I work really hard, and I work with a lot of students. And I know that
Everyday people. Every day she works really hard.
And then I was watching this show called Women of Impact, which I think was a lovely show meant to inspire people. And I thought to myself, oh, how come I'm not a woman of impact? Because I was working on such a local level, which is often not that acknowledged in our current world. And that's something we're going to talk about and kind of go back to this, because in our current world, it's like if you're not in the top 1% of 7 billion people, you're not worth talking about.
Well, and right now we are watching this amazing spectacle that's going on, which is the Olympics. And that's such an amazing event that hopefully one day I will get to be a part of, either going or seeing, whatever that is, I would love to watch it in person. So that's personally a goal of mine. But there's so many amazing people. And just because there's so many amazing people doesn't mean you're any less amazing. But, Simone Biles, she's gone through a lot in the past week. And she had to claim space for herself. And that was really hard because so many people are expecting her to do this thing for Team USA, for herself. And they're forgetting that, they're not there for us. And so it's really, really beautiful to watch this process for her and the whole gymnastics community really get behind her and saying, this was unsafe. Gymnastics is crazy hard. I could never do it. But she had to come forth and be the one to advocate for herself. And I thought that was really, really amazing. And I'm excited to watch how that proceeds. But it's little accomplishments too.
It's little things. Einstein talked about compound interest. And really what we're hoping is that you can compound the interest of your life.
Yeah.
When one of the things, when people used to say to me, if you could do anything you want in this world, what would you do? And my answer often was, I would distribute joy. But I didn't know how I wanted to distribute joy. And then the second thing, I remember when I was in graduate school, we were sitting around the table and we went around and said, if you could write a book, what would you write a book about? And my answer was the subtle joy of discipline. And it kind of dawned on me that what I want to do is to help people infuse both of those things, bringing joy to your life. And often the way we bring joy to our lives is by kind of consistently taking care of ourselves, taking care of the people we love, taking care of others, even those that we don't love, right? Making a stranger's day makes your day.
It really does.
And it's really exciting for me to have these two lifelong things I've always said I kind of wanted to help with is, bring more joy to others and help people understand the joy of discipline, because most of the joys, once we're eating well and we're working out and we're sleeping well and all that, you feel good 3 weeks later. It's not like the ice cream cone where you feel good now. So those are some of the things that we kind of want to bring as well.
Totally. I think maybe right now would be a good part for us to talk about what we've adapted into our lives the past few months. Today's August 1st. It's the start of something new. But, a few months ago, when Janelle and I were really thinking about this, we wanted to not use them as test guinea pigs or whatever, but we really wanted to try and incorporate this into our own lives. And so we sat down with all of her kids and we wrote goals for the summer. And my personal goal was try and work out almost every day. And I'm succeeding with that by, a bunch of help from my partner and my father, who are definitely keeping me accountable. But your kids have done an amazing job, and it's so amazing to watch their progress.
Well, one of the things we started doing, so a little backstory on me, we're in some context to where we are. We're, COVID's been going along for a while. I gave birth to twins they're not mine. But at the beginning of the pandemic, and so some of my recoveries kind of got halted with the pandemic, just to have a moment. There are moments where we really need to keep ourselves accountable, and there's moments where we need to acknowledge context in the environment. And so I can beat myself up for not having gotten back to my recovery faster, but as you know, basketball was canceled, water aerobics was canceled, the gym was canceled.
Your PT was canceled. There was no way for her to get in what she needed.
There were there were definitely some obstacles there. So as a family, we've started running the timed mile. And for my daughter, that was so difficult at the beginning. She did not want to do it.
Yeah, she and I've known you guys since 2015. Well, intimately since 2015. I've been over there multiple times a week since then. But Avalon is her name, and we spend a lot of time together. And that first day, we were not having a good time, and it was probably the peak of her and I not getting along, because she sees me as, oh, Millie got here, that means Millie is going to be timing us today. And so
Millie's the one that times everybody in the family to make sure we're, and my daughter's 9.
The sweetest thing in the world. Yeah. She's amazing, and she's so smart.
And she's really challenging herself in other ways, like with her crochet and really growing. But she did not want to run the mile. And so the first several times she just walked it, and then she was also breathing like this. It was like the Oscar goes to Avalon for her theatrics.
The first time they're young. They're really young, and they haven't had to push themselves to be uncomfortable. And my favorite quote that I always try and hold near and dear to myself is, I need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And if I'm comfortable being uncomfortable, I can do anything. There's nothing I can't do. And so that first day I was explaining to them what we were going to do. And Avalon just looked at me and went, why? And I was like, well, because we want to push ourselves. And she's like, no, I don't. I was like, well, none of us do, but we're going to try it. And she did, and she did a really amazing job. And her first time she ran it in 27 minutes. And that was because she ran for about 4. Total meltdown drama episode. And then we walked the rest. And she finished, and it was a very amazing accomplishment for that day. She didn't give up on herself, which I was so excited.
Fast forward to now.
Which is 2.5 months later.
Yeah.
And she ran it in 10 minutes. 10 minutes and 2 seconds last week.
And the difference is now when she is running it, she is running it all out. And that was in the heat of the day.
It was 94 degrees.
And
I had just gotten there. And
trucking.
She came downstairs, and I was like, hey, Avalon, do you know what today is? And she goes, yep, we're running. And she got on her shoes, and she walked outside with her water bottle, and she was so excited because her mom didn't see her run last week, and the week before she had this beautiful, PR, and she was so proud of herself. And then she went out there, and I was like, are you okay? How you feeling? Because I was ready for the pushback, and she just was so happy. And giving your kids and giving us something to hold yourself accountable for and to be proud of. And I think that was the first thing she really was able to be proud of herself for, because it was a visual timed thing where there is this point A to point B you have to get. It is a timed thing, and you can see the progress, which is something really beautiful with sports like track and field, where you can see the progress in yourself. And so that's what we want to do for the entire world. Now, that doesn't mean we're making you run a mile.
And it'll all be about what you want to do, but part of what we really want to do is start to make your accomplishments visual. We are going to be sending physical things to people for their accomplishment, kind of like the old Girl Scout badges, but for adults kind of thing. Meet your goals. We're really going to work on trying to find physical locations to honor people and to have their names on walls that have met their accomplishments, because one of the things we've really noticed in the world now is many things are so virtual and electronic.
Yeah, but they're also so distant. Even if there can be a lot of things that are electronic that are cool, you get sent this really awesome picture, you get sent this cool NFT, or you get sent this awesome email, but they're always so distant from a human. It's never this, cherished interaction. And so that's what we're really excited to bring back into it.
We want to kind of marry the two. Well, we'll have a great digital component.
Exactly.
We'll have a great...
We're not going back to rotary phones, but we're going to try and bring those two together so that we can have the best of both worlds from, Hannah Montana.
So that's one of our really exciting goals. And I've said for a long time, one of my favorite things about being human is you get to decide what kind of person you want to be and shape yourself into that person.
Yeah.
And it's a tough, tough process because you're the one having to mold yourself into that. But it's a beautiful process that I'm so grateful for.
It is a beautiful process. And I mean, we're both still very young, and we get to go down these paths and decide, you know what? I'm going to start over, and you're going to shift. And that's really what you're doing. You've created this amazing lifestyle. I mean, not an amazing lifestyle because obviously you work so hard, but you've found this thing that you're amazing at that helps other people. And now you're going, you know what? I'm not satisfied yet. I want to do more, which is so selfless of you because you want to help more people. And so you're doing kind of a full 180 and starting over again, which I admire so much. So I'm really, really excited to see where this goes.
Well, it is a big thing. Yeah, I'm the primary wage earner for my family. And those of you out there that are in that same boat know that pressure that comes with it. And so I need to be very conscientious about how I do things. But I am really proud of what I've accomplished so far in my life, and I don't want to diminish that. And all the work that I do with the kids I get to work with, and I'm looking forward to continuing to still do a lot of that work.
Oh, yeah.
And getting to do the work with the Green Lighthouse.
Yeah. The Green Lighthouse is a super cool project already. I cannot wait to see where it goes. And we have amazing people working with us right now that we'll bring in here into this room to talk with at some point. But
introduce you to our team members.
Yeah, our team is so cool, you guys. Right now we have 4 people who we're working with, and we can talk about that in another time. But they're all just so excited. They have really amazing stories of how they've gotten to this point in their lives that we're so excited to share with you. And hopefully that gives you guys a platform too. So if there's something you guys want us to talk about, or if there's something that you guys would like to talk about on this, that's always an option. We can always figure something out.
Yeah. Well, it's been such a pleasure to meet all of you. And welcome to the Green Lighthouse.
Yeah, welcome you guys. I can't wait for you guys to watch our journey.
Yeah.
It's going to be a pretty cool one.
Yeah, so love to you. Love you, Millie.
Love you. Have a great day, you guys. Be great.
Take care of yourself. Take care of others. Take care of the planet.
Enjoy.